Hello, it's Bobi, aka Paginator, and this is part 4 of 31 Books in 31 Days / Sharkathon Week Vlog. Yay! Sharks are ready to go. We got Sheldon here, and who I think we're going to be calling Finley, the blue shark there, and I've got my shark fingerless gloves if I feel the need for those. I have my shark TBR and I'm ready to go. So it's Sunday the 20th. With Sharkathon, how it usually works is that the new episodes each day come out starting at about 6 p.m. my time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time. And the first one is called Dancing with Sharks, and then I can't remember what the other two that are coming out today are, but I remember there's 3 new shows, and yeah, I'm ready to go sit down and watch some shark shows, maybe do a little bit of crafting while I watch, and I'm going to be picking a book to start physically reading. I have started A Darker Shade of Magic last week, but I haven't got into it yet, and I'm going to set that aside for now and come back to it once I get through my Shark Week reads. So the book I'd really like to start with is Pontus and Electra, To the Depths of the Sea. This is a verse novel told from the point of view of 2 different sharks. They think they're alone and then they find each other, and it's supposed to be kind of a love story as well. And I'm really excited for this because it's from the POV of sharks, not from people. And so that's exciting. And I love novels in verse, so yeah, I'm very much excited about this one. And yeah, I think that's about what I have to tell you. Remember that by the time this vlog goes up, Sharkathon will be over, so I don't need to remind you where all the links are and stuff. But just in case you're watching this after the fact and you want to see the prompts and things that we use this year, you can go to my Ko-fi and find the printables there, and I will link the Sharkathon announcement video in the space down below, just in case anyone missed and still wants to look for that information. So yeah, here we go. Sharks! Okay, so it's Sunday night. I'm gonna head to bed soon, but I wanted to do a little bit of thoughts about first day of Shark Week and some reading stuff. So I think I'm just gonna talk about the new 2025 episodes of Shark Week while we go through this week, because there are other episodes from past years on, obviously, and I can watch some of those as well, but I have to limit myself in some way as far as what I share with you in the vlog. So they had Dancing with Sharks, which was, they had like a Dancing with the Stars competition thing with professional shark divers who would go down and feed, and they had great hammerheads and nurse sharks, tiger sharks, and while they weren't directly in contact with the shark, they do some dance moves that they had practiced underwater, and it was like kind of a dance competition underneath. So really silly premise for an episode, but the footage of them actually working with the sharks and incorporating dance moves in there was really beautiful, especially the one lady, she was doing like kind of ballet things, and it was gorgeous. Then the next one was Air Jaws, The Hunt for Colossus, where they were looking for a famous shark from past shark weeks. It's a massive 20-foot male shark and has a very distinctive dorsal fin. And they think that he's been spotted in New Zealand, so they go down there to try to find him and capture some great whites breaching up out of the water, which is always amazing to watch. And then the third episode was about great white assassins, and they talk about how orcas attack and kill great whites, and they kill them for their livers. So they don't even eat the whole great white. They tear them open and eat their livers. And I know that sounds so gross. It's nature. But they talked about how in South Africa particularly, they're seeing a trend of solitary orcas hunting these white sharks, and usually orcas hunt in packs. So they were trying to figure out what's going on and if orcas everywhere are doing that as well, or if it's just in this one location. And that wasn't as interesting in terms of like the results of their research, because they kind of came up inconclusive, to be honest. Like, or if they did, I wasn't focused enough to to catch it. But what did catch my attention was one of the guys on that episode. His name is Dickie Shivel. If you've watched Shark Week, you know who he is. He is an absolute madman. He's from South Africa, and he puts himself in all kinds of crazy situations. And he was, you know, going in shark cages and stuff, and also built this orca thing that he like put himself inside of, and then went down to the sea floor and was like walking along in an orca costume to see what the white sharks would do if an orca was nearby. He could have been eaten. I don't know. I guess that's true of anybody that goes down there with sharks and stuff, but he's crazy. Anyway, let's talk about reading. So I did read the whole novel in verse, Pontus and Electra, To the Depths of the Sea. I was disappointed. I'm going to be honest. I was really hoping for something very moving. It is a love story between two sharks. And I don't know. I get what the author was trying to do. I just don't know how well it was executed. And there were some continuity errors, actually, because Pontus, the male shark, at one point he says this is the first time he's seen a land creature, meaning humans, in person. And that's not true, because in the very chapter previous, human who was taking photos underwater had come and swum right up to them and like put their hand out to touch his nose. So it wasn't the first land creature that he came on contact with. Anyway, couple things like that, and then just a couple little things with the writing, because when you write in verse, it's poetic form, right? And yes, in poetry you can bend some of the rules of grammar, punctuation, etc. But if you're going to do that, then you need to be consistent all the way through. And there were some times where the author would use end punctuation or commas in the middle of lines, which is fine. You're allowed to do that. But then in others, it would be completely absent for like many, many lines. And you'd be like, wait a minute, where's the punctuation here? Where's it supposed to be? It just was inconsistent. So I did rate this as a 3-star. I thought it was going to come out a little bit lower than that. And I might have given the author credit just for the originality of writing from the point of view of sharks, because that was really nice, actually. And it was sweet when they kind of fell in love with each other, and she talks from each point of view of the shark about when they fell in love with the other and stuff. So that part's kind of sweet. So yeah, 3 stars overall for this one, but I was disappointed. So I'm counting that for my Catching Feelings prompt because it has a romance. Remember, we can do the prompts in any order we want. And again, I don't know why I'm explaining this stuff, because by the time this vlog goes up, Shark Week will be over. In terms of what I'm going to read next, I have my 4 other Shark Week books picked out. I've got Flesh, Fins, In Deeper Waters, and Voice of the Ocean. And I think I want to read Fins. It is about finning and trying to protect sharks and stuff, and that's very much like the idea behind Shark Week and what the Discovery Channel does, and why we have Shark Week in the first place, because they're sharing information about sharks so that people aren't terrified of them all the time. I also feel like this is an appropriate time to give one of my favorite Craig Ferguson quotes, which I'm pretty sure I give every year during Shark Week, but I don't care. So he says, "Sharks are beautiful, amazing creatures, and we should not be afraid of them when we are on land." I mean, I love sharks so much, and I've always said that I want to go swimming with whale sharks, and I really do. I'm probably never ever going to get to, because you have to be like having some serious cash to be able to do that. But I think in real life, if I was swimming and saw a shark, for sure I'd be scared. It's the body's natural response. But I would hope that I would know not to completely freak out and just kind of wait. Maybe have that like freeze response. That might be the safest thing in that situation, to just like wait and watch and see, is it even near me before I freak out? Like, hold on. But anyway, but back to this book. So if you missed my Sharkathon TBR, you wouldn't have heard the synopsis. This is about a marine biologist named Doc Ford, and he needs help protecting sharks. And he enlists kids Luke, Maribel, and Sabina. And says Luke is brand new to Florida from the Midwest. Sisters Maribel and Sabina have recently arrived from Cuba, and all three feel like fish out of water. It's going to take some convincing for them to work as a team and recognize in themselves the courage, wisdom, and tenacity Doc sees. So they form Sharks Incorporated, and they're all about setting out to tag sharks for Doc's research and stay away from any poachers in the area. Now, because this is a middle grade book and it looks very adventurous, I'm guessing that they're going to run into some poachers and maybe get into some trouble. It should be a good read. I have heard good things about this one, and I hope that I have better results than the first read of Sharkathon, because I would like some higher rated books. All that being said, it's time for me to go to bed now, and I'll check back with you again on Monday. We have more Shark Week episodes coming out tomorrow, and more reading to do, so we'll see in a little while. Hello, it's Monday night, and I have read, 62 pages in this. I quite enjoyed it, but I had kind of a rough start to my day. Some things happened, and I wasn't able to make myself read for a little while. I did find the audiobook of Flush on Libby, so I started that one as well. I got about 15% or so into that one. So far in this one, the main character's father's been arrested for sinking a boat, and we kind of get some backstory on the father. He tends to act perhaps a little impulsively when he is fighting for something he feels is right, especially environmental or animal welfare causes. Not the first time he's been arrested for doing something, and the reason he sunk the boat is that he thought that he had evidence that it was flushing raw sewage into the water illegally and stuff. So so far it's just kind of setting up the story for what's happening next. In this one, Finn, so this is our 3 kiddos that get recruited to help tag sharks. They're specifically working with blackfin sharks, although they do encounter a bull shark on their first time out on the boat. So we have 2 sisters who moved to Florida from Cuba about a year before the book starts, and then we have Luke, who right at the beginning of the book is struck by lightning. He's living in Florida with his grandpa. Mom passed away, and stepdad just got frustrated and was like, you know what, you're going to have to go live with your grandpa. Doesn't sound like he was a very good guy, stepdad. But Luke is now living with grandpa, and he has also got a job helping with the shark tagging. And they're kind of just learning the routine and everything involved with tagging these sharks. Did I say the right species of shark? Black tip sharks is what they're working with. And these type of sharks, they don't get very big, so they bring them right onto the boat. They do a tag, take pictures and video for identification, and put them back in. And their goal is to tag as many as they possibly can, because they're concerns about the population decreasing due to shark finning and stuff. So yeah. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know. I really am enjoying this, as well as the Flush book also, what I've read and listened to so far. It's hard for me to get going on reading when I'm having a bad mental health day. And the first half of the day at least was not great. Thank goodness to a good friend of mine who kind of helped me think through some things and kind of like helped pull me out. And also thanks to watching just a silly movie and stuff to just kind of like, you know, try to boost my spirits. And then I was able to read some toward the evening. Shark Week shows. Today we had the Battle of the Sexes with great whites, and I don't want to spoil who won, but they had different competitions between the male and female sharks in terms of strength and air time when they would breach and that kind of stuff. Also, another one was Jaws versus Mega Croc, which was similar to kind of thing. They were doing different measurements of different scales and things, both on great white sharks and on Nile crocodiles. And I didn't care for that one. I hate crocodiles. I think watching Crocodile Dundee one too many times as a kid maybe scared me more than I rationally should be of crocodiles. I don't live anywhere near any crocodiles except for maybe the one that lives at the zoo in Salt Lake. But I'm sure they're amazing animals. I just don't like them. So, of course, I was rooting for the shark the entire time, and you'll have to watch and find out the results on that one. And then the third one was an awful thing about shark attacks. People that there was like a spree of bull shark attacks, and they showed some footage that I just didn't want to see, and the saving grace of that is that thanks to like nearby people who just rushed in to help, like there happened to be nurses vacationing at the beach where this happened, and there were other people that just jumped right in and helped. Like all of the shark attack victims were able to survive, so there was no fatalities during that particular spree. It was in 2024, and there was a really amazing part where this lady who is a mother, her 3 kids were on the beach and she had been attacked. And I'm not going to go through all the details of her injury, but she's lying there on the beach surrounded by adult volunteers, and then there are other people taking care of her kids off to the side. And her husband's there holding her hand, and this woman, this is what like made me cry, and I'm trying not to cry when I explain it. This woman knelt down by the victim's head, and she put her hands on her face. And she was like rubbing sand into her face to help keep her like alert, just like feeling textures and stuff. And she said, "This is my name. What's your name?" And she kind of talked to her about, remember when you had your kids and how badly it hurt. And you made it through that. This is going to be a lot of pain too. But you and I are going to get through this. And she just kind of kept her present with her like this. And it's amazing to me how in moments like that so many people were willing to come in and help. And I don't know, it was that part of it was really cool. Having said that, I am a little bit afraid of having nightmares. I'm very susceptible to my dreams being like reflective of the most recent thing on my mind. So I'm going to be staying up for a little while. I've been watching a few funny videos on YouTube. Jolly, which I've been talking about that channel recently. It's like 2 British guys that eat food and they're hilarious. Daz Watches and Off the Hook with Daz Black. Yeah, I did get teary-eyed. Oh my goodness. Okay. Need to be able to see. But yeah, I'm going to stay up for a while and watch some funny videos so that hopefully I can dream about that instead of sharks. Because as much as I love sharks, I don't want to dream about the victims and the things that they went through. So on that happy note, I'm gonna sign off for now. Tomorrow will be Tuesday. I've got some errands and things that I need to do, but if I organize my time, I should be able to knock those out pretty quickly and spend the rest of the time reading and stuff. And I should do some crafting tomorrow because on Wednesday I need to head to Utah for a few days and I'll be away from my crafting desk. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna wrap up this part of the video and I'll see you later. Hey there, it's Tuesday and I'm doing a check-in because I have just finished Fins. This is the first in a series called Sharks Incorporated, and I'm probably not going to continue with the series straight away. I did really enjoy the story, and 2 of the 3 main characters I liked. Maribel, the older sister, was nice, and then the boy, Lucas, I really liked his character. He had some interesting things going on, but the little sister, Sabina, didn't like her. Didn't like her for one single moment the entire time of the book. So... Other than that, it was a good story. It did talk a lot about not just the black-tip sharks that the kids were in charge of tagging, but also some other species, and we got to learn about the effects of poaching on shark populations, that kind of stuff. So that part of it was good. So I would say if you're going to read this, I think you'll enjoy it. Just know that one of the characters is super obnoxious. I have not watched Shark Week shows yet. They haven't come out yet. The Shark Week shows come on at a certain time each day, the new episodes anyway. I have listened to a little bit more in flesh, and Noah, his dad, is like calling in reporters. He's still in jail and stuff, but he's reaching out to reporters and different things to try to like set himself up as some kind of hero for sinking this boat. And maybe he was in the right, maybe he was in the wrong. No one wants to find out because his mom's starting to drop words like divorce when she thinks the kids aren't hearing. And of course he's worried about that, he and his sister. So they're going to see if they can figure out, was dad right? Was that boat really polluting? And can we figure out a way to save this situation? So we'll see how that continues. I really, really hope that book and the other 2 that I picked out for Shark Week are good, because like I said, I enjoyed this one mostly. The first one I read not so much. I was disappointed in, so I want to have an overall total reading experience on these next ones that are a little bit better. So that'll be it for now. I might do some crafting while I watch the Shark Week shows tonight. We'll just kind of see, but I need to go make some dinner, and yeah, I'll check in with you guys later. Okay, it's Tuesday evening, and I watched the new Shark Week shows for this evening, and then I watched some old Air Jaws episodes, because one of the new shows was about shark attacks again, and so I was just trying to watch like cool shots of great whites flying in the air and all that stuff. I listened to a little bit more of Flesh, but not a whole lot. I did, however, start reading In Deeper Waters, and this book already has me really intrigued, like, from the beginning. So I'm only 45 pages in, but I haven't been reading for that long, so that's a good sign, because I'm already, like, reading a fair bit in just a short amount of time, and I think I'm gonna really like this one. One of you guys had commented that you had read it and said you really liked it, which was also good to hear. And yeah, I'm gonna go to bed and maybe read a little bit before I fall asleep, and yeah, I'll see you later tomorrow sometime. Hey, it's Wednesday morning. So earlier in the vlog I showed you a little animal friend that had come into the backyard. Well, this morning I found something even more amazing. And the way that unfolded, I started filming one animal, and then, well, let's just let you watch it. Hello, Mr. Moose. We got a baby, we got a baby. Can you see it? Oh gosh. It's tiny, tiny. And I think it's blocked by the fence there. Come on, baby. Can we see? Oh, I want you to see her. There she comes. Oh. She's so darling. I'm assuming gender. I don't know if it's a girl baby or boy baby. But that's got to be mama. Oh. There's another baby. There's another baby. We have twins. Oh. No way. I've never ever seen moose twins. I cannot believe this. I really badly want to open the glass door, but they scare so easily, and you do not mess with a mama animal who's got babies. So we're just being weird, creepy stalkers looking out the back door. And you know what? It's kind of a good thing that my back deck railing is broken, because otherwise we'd have a big railing right through them. I cannot believe this. Ugh, this has made my day. I have lived here for almost 20 years and never seen twin mooses. I was blown away. Yeah, you have to be super careful with mamas and babies. So I was able to sneak a couple of good pictures with my big camera, but I had to stay far away. So I was lucky I have a long lens on my camera, because, yeah, no, don't ever mess with a mama and baby of any animal, let alone wild ones. Just don't do it. Trust me that I was being as safe as possible while I was taking the pictures and stuff. So, yeah. But oh my gosh, that's totally made my entire day. I'm getting ready to head to my family's for a few days. I'm gonna do our little 24th of July celebration there, and take the pictures for the portrait session that I think I mentioned. I can't remember if it was in this part or in part 3, but I'm doing a portrait session for a young lady that lives there, and hopefully be finishing up my Sharkathon books, hopefully get to watch some Shark Week shows. And yeah, Sheldon and Finley are not on the shelf because they're already packed up, ready to go. I just got to get the rest of my clothes packed and then I'm out of here. So next time I check in with you, will be in a different location, and we'll see you then. Hey there, it's Thursday, July 24th, and as you can see, I'm back at my mom's house. Yesterday I drove to Utah and mainly listened to podcasts. Sometimes you're just not in the mood for an audiobook, but I have been listening to more of Flesh this morning. There is a parade and there are kids games and stuff going on in the little town where my parents live, and when I got here yesterday, my youngest niece and youngest nephew were here for a sleepover, and that was a surprise to me. I didn't know they would be here, so that was kind of fun. We cooked hot dogs out by the fire pit, and or in the fire pit, on the fire pit, something at the fire pit. And so anyway, the little town that we're in is teeny tiny, and it's so cute. Their parade goes around 2 times. It's so fun. So the kids have like bags and bags of candy, and yeah, they're having a blast over there at the park, but I just get overheated too easily. So I'm back at the house in the AC. Like I said, I have been listening to a little bit more of Flush. I am at 45%. And so far it seems to be much more about the family dynamics than it is about anything ocean related. Because the father initially tried to go after that boat because it was polluting water and that kind of thing. But now it's mainly about, like, are the parents going to stay together because the dad continues to make stupid decisions? Like the people at the jail. left the cell door open because there was an accident right outside the jail, and they had brought him his dinner or something, and they get this emergency call right out the front door and go to help. And so the dad's like, oh, might as well leave. So now he's going to add a felony of like jailbreak onto his charges. He just continues to make stupid decision after stupid decision. And I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, are you a grown up? Really? Like, what an idiot. In terms of physical reading, I read about 40 pages or so yesterday in Deeper Waters. Was it 40? 60? Something? I don't know. I'm about to page 100 right now. And so we have our two male leads, Tal and Athlin. Tal is the main character. It's all from his POV. And it's always been like there are rumors that Tal has magic, and I don't know how these rumors got out, because like he's been very sheltered in the palace. He's not been allowed to leave until his coming of age tour, and so I'm not sure who's going around spreading these. So I'm thinking must be some kind of insider inside the palace like spreading this information, but he's really tried to hide it. And then Athlin, this kid that he meets, there's something kind of off about him, a little strange, and we find out why he's different later, but I don't want to like spoil things. But I like the kind of, I don't know, I like the way that these two characters keep like bumping into each other, and they're a little bit flirty and a little bit like, kind of like you, but aren't saying anything out loud to each other. They're mostly just kind of in that teenage angst thing, which is good for a YA. Like, that's what you want, right? Is an authentic teen experience, because ultimately I'm looking for books to recommend to teenage readers, right? Anyway, we'll see how the adventure part of this all shakes out. Some things have happened, but again, I don't want to spoil, so I'm not going to tell you like the big plot events. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna go sit and read for a little while, or maybe edit a video or something. And yeah, I'll see you later. Hey there, I'm checking in on Friday the 25th. And yeah, yesterday was quite a day. I had, I talked to you about the town celebrations and things that we did. And then last I checked in with you, I was going to go edit a video or read, and I ended up doing both things. Also did a little bit of Shark Week watching. I watched the Expedition Unknown and the Expedition X episodes, and then part of the Alien Sharks episode. And those were all Tuesday episodes. I'm behind on my shows, just, being with family, stuff takes up your time and that kind of thing, but that's okay. I listened to quite a bit more in Flush, and I'm really enjoying it. At first I was a little annoyed because it seemed to be more about like the dad being an idiot than anything else, but they're starting to make some forward progress on like proving if the dad was right or wrong in his assumption that that ship was doing damage to the water and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that story's moving right along, and I read a lot in this one. So at the beginning of yesterday, I was about at page 100, and I am starting off today at page 239. I've just been to do the little photo shoot that I mentioned before for a gal here in town, and her boyfriend, and then her mom was in some of the pictures as well. Did some really cute pictures in front of an old wooden barn in town, and then a really old bridge. And then there's like this little Pioneer museum place that's got a couple of like old buildings and things. So it was a lot of very like old wood backgrounds and stuff. It was very cool. So I had fun taking the pictures. I hope they enjoy them. Should I tell you this story though? So when we were on the bridge, okay, we got this iron bridge, and so we're on this bridge with these metal beams and stuff, and it just didn't occur to me like to read the words on the graffiti. So I'm gonna insert an unedited picture here for you to see. I'm gonna cover up the kids' faces because they're kids, but I'll let you see the graffiti. It took us so long to notice what that said. So thank goodness for photo editing, magic eraser tools and stuff like that. I was able to get it out of the final pictures, but oh my gosh, I have laughed so much while I was going through editing these pictures, and my nephew that's 18, he came in to see what I was doing, and I said, look at this, and he laughed and laughed so hard. Oh my goodness, it's been giving us great entertainment. So, I mean, if we didn't live in the age of digital photography where I could edit those kind of things out, it would be a disaster, but no, it's just kind of funny. But yeah, I'm gonna finish up editing photos and maybe do a little bit of reading, and then I'll check in with you later. Yeah, those words. Hey there. It is Friday night and I'm doing my before bed check-in. I have finished In Deeper Waters. Ended up giving it a very high rating. It was 4.5 stars on Cawpile, and I don't know, it was just really enjoyable. Very sweet romance. There was no smut. There was some making out, like kissing and stuff, but nothing beyond that. Anything further happened behind closed doors and was not described on the page. So that's good. There was a lot going on that needed to be resolved because one of the characters had made a bargain with the Sea Witch, and that had to be resolved. And then there was political turmoil going on with like kingdoms alliances and that kind of thing. And there was some, I don't know, I'll just say there was a lot of things happening in the plot, but nothing felt like it was rushed through. It felt like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Like the logic of it was like, even though it's fantasy and we're dealing with like mythical creatures and magical powers and stuff, it still felt like, okay, yeah, this makes sense for this story. So really enjoyed it. And then I jumped right into Voice of the Ocean. So I have this one here. I am about 6.5 chapters in, and so far it's quite enjoyable. Our main character is a princess of the Siren Kingdom. There are 3 Siren Kingdoms, and she's a princess in the largest one. Her mother, the queen, is like the main ruler, and then her father's kind of like her support partner, so it's more of like a matriarchal system, which is kind of cool. And she is set to join the chorus, which is the elite group of the military who take out any humans that come into their territory, take down ships, sing the men into the sea and kill them, that kind of stuff that sirens do. And so far things aren't going so well for her because she is not the kind of siren to follow instructions very well. She goes to the surface when she knows she's not supposed to, sees a human prince there, kind of like gets this crush on him because she sees him being nice to a dog and like dancing around using music and all this stuff. And she's like, I think that some humans may be good and maybe we shouldn't kill them. And yeah, so we're going to see where this adventure takes her. It tells us in the synopsis that she does rescue this prince when she's supposed to take him out. And so I have reached that point where she has rescued him and another man from his ship and the dog from his ship. But I'm predicting that she's going to be shunned by the rest of her siren kind of society and told that like there's only one way to fix this. So maybe that's when we get to the point where she's going to be going to the human world, because the synopsis does also tell us that she will be doing that. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's enjoyable so far. I haven't made any progress with my audiobook today. I could have, because I was at the house alone for a little while today, and instead I took a nap. So I am now officially like a day behind on my 31 books in 31 days, I think. I've got my bullet journal here. I'm tracking everything in. Yeah, so today's the 25th and I have 24 books done. So I'll need to do a bit of catching up. But I think I can finish Flush tomorrow because I'm going to be doing some baking. And I'll listen to that while I'm baking. And maybe power through Voice of the Ocean. I also brought some more volumes of that manga that I was reading. Zelda Twilight Princess. I have volume 6, 7, and 8 still to read, so I have those two that can help me get caught up on my numbers. But I'm kind of amazed that it's the 25th of July and I am still like pretty much on track. This is shocking, actually. And as far as Shark Week goes, my parents and I watched one of the shows today. It was Florida's Death Beach, and it was talking about how there's one stretch of beach in Florida where there's a lot of shark attacks, shark bites, and that kind of thing, and it's a lot of black tip sharks especially. And what the scientists have kind of figured out is that there's a lot of big predators out there in the water that are driving those smaller black tips closer to the shore, and they're encountering people. Some of the big predators they saw were a great hammerhead, a lemon shark, and a tiger shark, and they even saw one white shark. Was that on that episode? I think it was. Yeah. My Shark Week watching is all over the place because I still need to finish Alien Sharks Death Down Under from Wednesday. I need to finish all of Thursday's shows. I haven't watched any of those. And I've only watched one of Friday's shows. So who knows? I'm going to try to stay up and watch 1 or 2 episodes tonight before I go to sleep. And then we'll see where else we end up with that. But yeah, we'll see you in a little while. Hi. It's Saturday night and I'm trying to speak quietly because both of my parents are asleep, and my dad could hear me talking last night when I was updating the vlog. He was like, got up today and was like, you were talking last night when I was going to sleep, and oh crap. I don't want to keep him awake because he has an early morning meeting tomorrow. So it's Saturday night and I finished the audiobook of Flush, ended up giving it 3.5 stars, and I think what was holding it back from being a 4-star was I wanted more focus on the situation with like the pollution in the boat and like carrying out the whole plot. It felt like that part of it just was kind of skipped over. Anyway, and I jumped right into another audiobook, which was Love Boat Taipei, and I listened to the entire thing today. Really enjoyed that one as well. That one I rated 4 stars, and that one follows Ever Wong, whose parents sent her to this like Chinese camp to learn more about the language because they're gonna make her become a doctor, and they want her to learn Chinese to learn more about her culture and all this stuff. Anyway, when she gets there, she learns that this program is called Love Boat because a lot of people end up hooking up, and there's all kinds of love triangles and all kinds of things happening. She has a roommate, Sophie, that she becomes really fast friends with. Sophie's cousin, Rick, is someone that Ever already knew about because he's been in the newspaper many times, and her parents would always say, oh look, there's Rick Wu, look, he's doing something amazing again. And so she didn't like know him, but she knew who he was, and she was always like, that guy. Yeah, but yeah, he's there too. So it's definitely not going to be one that I put in my middle school classroom library because the kids are involved in drinking and sexy times and that kind of thing. Nothing graphic in terms of the sexy times. It's not like a smut book, but it's there. Yeah, but I think that's about... Oh, I watched one Shark Week show. It was about the bull shark showdown between the United States and Australia. And that was kind of fun, even though it was a little cheesy. And yeah, I think that's all I've got to update with you today. So yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Hey there, it's Sunday night, and I'm going to try not to talk very loud once again because once again, my parents have gone to sleep and I don't want to wake them up. So, we had, regular Sunday things, church and stuff, and then both of my siblings and my grandparents came for dinner and that kind of thing. And so I hadn't done a ton of reading. I did read a whole bunch of articles in a Greencraft magazine about upcycling and creating art with found items and things at home and that kind of stuff. And then as far as reading in this book goes, I have read a lot. A lot of it was done yesterday, but still continued some today. And I wish that I had finished this book today for the sake of like Sharkathon and keeping on pace with the 31 books thing, but I don't think I'm going to finish because I'm getting sleepy. But there are a couple of passages I wanted to share with you. So this is again Voice of the Ocean. Here is the author's name. There. So I wanted to read a little bit of the description of the Sea Witch, because when I hear Sea Witch, I think of Ursula from Disney's Little Mermaid. But this one has a very cool description. So it says, why are you here, princess? The Sea Witch asked, or rather Nerissa asked. Celeste had almost forgotten that the Sea Witch of lore had a name. Nerissa stared at Celeste with large liquid black pupilless eyes. This too was a surprise. Celeste had always pictured her with glowing red eyes, pointed fingers that could tear skin, and shark teeth. The shark teeth had sort of been a common theme. The siren before her was nothing like that. Nerissa's skin was a dark, inky blue, like a perfect night sky. She would have blended into the darkness of the wasting waters perfectly had she not been somehow glowing. The witch's skin gleamed a phosphorescent blue from uneven stripes that covered her body. Dark blue hair, so dark it was nearly black, hung in a sheet behind her, rippling gently as she moved. 2 webbed ears protruded from the sides of her head. The webbing moved between 4 points that grew smaller as they curved down her ear. Her face was all angles, high cheekbones, a sharp chin and jawline. The only remotely soft thing about her was her lips, which were full, black, and bowed. I thought that was such an interesting description. I can very vividly picture her. At the same time, I want to draw her, but I'm not good at drawing anything, so we won't do that. And then, so I talked to you about how our main character, Celeste, had saved the prince that she was supposed to help take out, and so her mom, kind of in a desperate move, sends her to, she tells her, the only way you can make this right is if you go kill the prince. It has to be him. You have to go take him out and then come back with his head. So she goes to the Sea Witch to make a bargain for legs to become human, and she comes to be a part of the prince's crew, and it turns out he's like the son of the pirate king, not like the political king, which was confusing. At first I thought it was just the king of like the land that they were near, but apparently it's the pirate king that he's the son of. Anyway, Raiden, I'm not sure how the author wants us to say that name. I've been saying Raiden in my head. They have some serious vibes together, like really, I don't know, they're just feeling each other. He knows that she's a siren, but he's not telling the rest of the crew. And she's not speaking, which I didn't understand because the Sea Witch didn't ask for her voice. The Sea Witch asked for a favor. And she said, I'll do it as long as the favor doesn't involve me killing anyone or like breaking my code of ethics, that kind of thing. So I don't know if she's not using her voice because she's a siren and she's afraid that it will release magic, or she was really scared when she first came on land and she was traumatized by an encounter that she had with a guard, which I'm not going to get into here, but it was pretty awful to read about. Anyway, so Celeste, our siren main character, and Raiden are starting to catch feelings for each other. And so I'm going to read to you the paragraph that is where I'm at in the book, because I think it's just really well written, and it encapsulates this idea of, you know, being pulled towards someone. She didn't want to think about what had just happened, but it was undeniable. There was a sort of gravity between them now, and although she was desperately trying to resist it, it pulled at her. She tried to distract herself with the many things going on around them, but it didn't work. All she could think about were his soft lips when he kissed her back, his hands on her back, the hungry look in his eyes when she pulled away. So they had to like kiss in public to convince a guard that they were together, because there was like a misunderstanding that guard thought that Raiden was like hurting her and maybe trying to take her. So the guard was well-meaning and trying to protect her, but since she's not speaking, she couldn't just say, no, 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 I'm with him, it's fine. So she kissed him instead. And that paragraph that I just read to you, I thought it was really, like I said, a great way to describe being really drawn to someone, and especially those feelings after like having kissed them the first time and that kind of thing. So that is where I'm at. I'm on page 229, and the book goes to like 393, I think. Almost 400. Anyway, so yeah, I probably will stay up and read a little bit tonight, but I also need to finish editing this vlog. So since it's Sunday and I've been kind of wrapping these up on Sundays, let's just call this the end of part 4. I will have a part 5 / Sharkathon wrap up later on, maybe by the end of this week, like by my Saturday video. We'll kind of see what where the time takes me. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna call it good. I did leave the reading form for Sharkathon open through today, Sunday, just to give people an extra day to finish up anything, or some people like to log their reads at the end. So I'm gonna get that form closed, get this vlog edited, and we'll see you all in the next one. So thanks for joining me on this. If you stayed all the way to the end, give me an emoji of an orange, like the orange fruit or something orange colored, because these two characters have just bought an orange and she's about to try one for the first time ever in her life. So there we go. Have a wonderful, magical, and bookish day. Happy reading, crafting, or journaling. Adios.